I'm joined by Professor Swaran Singh and Ambassador Veena Sikri. Professor Swaran Singh, how serious is this problem for Pakistan? They must be thinking that, they've got the Taliban there, so, they can take orders from them.
I think that is the difference. Taliban, when it came in 1990s, was seen as creation of Pakistan and therefore subservient to Pakistani interests. This was seen in terms of increased strategic depth of Pakistan vis-a-vis India. But Taliban 2.0 is very different, and they have right from beginning asserted themselves as they came to power in August of 2021. You remember Pakistan wanted to start, pushing them to make anti-India statements. This was a time when India had, reorganized India's Jammu and Kashmir. And even from that time, they have clearly, repeatedly mentioned that their relationship with other countries is not to be guided by Pakistan. And you remember Muttaqi here in Delhi said they have 5 neighbors. They are all fine other than Pakistan has a problem with them. And as you mentioned yourself, Durand Line has not been acceptable to successive leaders in Afghanistan. And now Taliban is asserting that the fact that Durand Line is not acceptable to them, which means that this land boundary dispute will continue to be a point of discordance. Now, how violent it becomes will be reflected in terms of several other factors contributing. But this is not going to disappear, and I think repeatedly this will see violence happening on the border. And they have somehow managed this ceasefire for 48 hours, but even on that, there are different variations. Taliban is saying ceasefire will continue as long as both sides don't violate it. But you heard Khwaja Asif saying he doesn't trust about the durability of the ceasefire. So even now, the fact that it was to start at 5:30 according to Taliban, at 6 p.m. according to Pakistan, there are variations, and I hope that ceasefire sustains. But that boundary dispute is very significant part of determining their bilateral relationship. And given other factors, this could sort of ratchet up or sometime become violent, as we are seeing becoming violent right now. And both sides are claiming large
casualties. It proves too, Swaran Singh, there's a Taliban 1, there's a Taliban 2. Taliban 2 is also intermeshed with Haqqani network, TTP. Can India really trust this set of so many terrorist organizations together, which are in charge of Kabul, which is so much different from Ghani and Karzai administration?
That's true, that not just that a large part of the world, including India, at some stage used to treat Taliban as a terrorist organization. But we have noticed that the world's approach to some of these organizations, for example, HTS in Syria or Taliban in Afghanistan, global approach has become far more pragmatic and shall we say, accommodating as far as some of these new realities are concerned. So India has noticed that even Taliban has been much more pragmatic in terms of how it is exploring relationships with other countries. And it has a very different relationship. It's no longer a kind of a prodigy of Pakistan, but it wants to stand on its own feet. And what is different here is that, here is a Taliban that was fighting United States for 2 decades. It's a very hardened, sort of toughened fighting force in that sense, which has large amount of equipment, which was left behind by Americans. And therefore, one has to take things with a lot of caution. And it's not just India. Most of the neighboring major powers are concerned that there is a potential if the cohesion of Taliban and other various outfits there doesn't work very well, it could lead to radicalization, could lead to Islamic State or Al-Qaeda finding itself back again
but there's another aspect. There's another aspect very quickly. This is